Welcome back to our channel, Zero to English, the podcast dedicated to helping you achieve fluency one practical conversation at a time. We break down real-world English so you can speak confidently in any situation. If you love practical lessons like this, please remember to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for more videos. Hello and welcome to this special edition of English Cactus. My name is Perry and I am joined, as always, by my partner in language, Alan. Today, we are starting a journey that isn't about grammar rules or lists of irregular verbs. Instead, it is about you. It is about your life, your time, and your peace of mind.
That is so important, Perry. I talk to English learners every day, and they all say the same thing. I really want to improve, but I'm just too busy. They feel like English is a giant mountain they have to climb, and they are already exhausted before they even start.
If you feel that learning English is hard, confusing, or too tiring to keep going, this episode is exactly for you. There is a very common belief that to master a language, you need a perfect environment. You think you need 3 hours of total silence, a massive textbook, and a level of motivation that never disappears.
But that belief is actually a barrier. It is a wall that stops you from moving forward. In real life, most people are overwhelmed. We have jobs, we have families, we have chores. And the truth is, English only works when it fits your real daily routine. It cannot be a separate task that you hate. It must be a part of the air you breathe.
Today, we are going to show you how to create a daily English routine that feels easy, natural, and realistic. We want to help you build a routine that survives your worst days, not just your best days. Alan, let's talk about that concept, the worst day routine.
I love this idea. Usually, when we make a plan, we imagine ourselves as superheroes. We think, tomorrow I will wake up at 5 a.m., drink green juice, and study English for 2 hours. We imagine our best day. But then reality happens. You sleep late, your boss is angry, the car breaks down, and you are exhausted.
On that day, that worst day, your ambitious plan dies. And when the plan dies, you feel like a failure. You think, I'm not good at this. I'll try again next month. This is the cycle of inconsistency.
Our goal today is to break that cycle. We want to show you that simple routines last much longer than ambitious ones. English should not feel like a punishment or a heavy weight. It should feel like a small gift you give to yourself.
Let's listen to a conversation between Alex and Chris. Alex is feeling that typical learner's guilt. He feels lost because he keeps trying to be perfect and failing. Chris is going to show him a different way, a way that focuses on consistency over intensity.
As you listen to this dialogue, don't worry about the difficult words. Don't worry if you don't understand every sentence. Just relax and listen to the rhythm of the conversation. After the talk, we will break down every phrase, every cultural tip, and every small win so that everything becomes clear.
Remember, grab your coffee, sit in your favorite chair, and let's begin. Hey, Chris, can I talk to you for a bit? I've been thinking a lot about my English lately, and honestly, I feel a little lost. I feel like I'm running in circles, but I'm not getting anywhere.
Of course, Alex. Take your time. I've been there too. What's specifically been on your mind?
I really want to improve, you know? I want to be able to speak without that lag in my brain. But every time I try to create a routine, it feels too hard to follow. I buy the books, I download the apps, I set the alarm, but after 3 or 4 days, I stop. I feel like I don't have enough willpower.
That is a very common observation, Alex. But here's the secret. Most people don't fail because they are bad at English or because they have no willpower. They fail because the routine they created doesn't fit their real life. It's like trying to wear shoes that are 3 sizes too small. They look nice in the box, but they hurt when you try to walk in them.
Yes, that's exactly how it feels. My routine looks amazing on paper. It's very impressive. But in my real life, when I'm tired after work, it's impossible.
A good English routine should be flexible. It should be something you can do even when you are having a terrible day. Improvement doesn't come from a marathon session once a month. It comes from micro habits.
Micro habits? You mean like studying for just 5 minutes? Will I really improve if I don't study a lot?
Absolutely. Improvement is about frequency, not just duration. Doing a little every day is much more powerful than doing a lot once in a while. When you do something every day, your brain starts to recognize English as a normal part of life, not a special event.
That already makes me feel more relaxed. I think I always tell myself if I don't study for an hour, it doesn't count. That pressure is so heavy that I end up doing nothing at all.
Exactly. That is the all or nothing trap. We want to find the something middle ground. Relaxation is actually a learning strategy. When your brain is relaxed, it is in a state of absorption. It soaks up the language like a sponge. When you are stressed, your brain closes to protect itself.
Okay, I like the idea of no pressure, but I still don't understand the how. How do I actually put English inside my day without it feeling like another chore on my list?
Let's go step by step. We will look at your morning, your commute, your breaks, and your evening. We will find the hidden moments where English is already waiting for you.
Now that we understand the philosophy of the worst day routine, let's get practical. Let's look at the first 2 hours of your day. Most people think they need to find time to study English. But the truth is, you don't need to find time. You need to repurpose the time you already have.
I love that word, Perry. Repurpose. It means to take something that already exists and use it for a new goal. In our dialogue, Chris asks Alex a very important question. Tell me about your mornings.
Well, I wake up, check my phone, brush my teeth, make coffee, and get ready to leave for work.
That's perfect. You don't need to change your life. You just add English to those existing actions. For example, when you check your phone, change the language of one app to English.
This is a brilliant strategy. Think about how many times a day you look at your phone. If your Instagram, your weather app, or your calendar is in English, you are seeing real-world English hundreds of times. You aren't studying vocabulary, you are experiencing it.
And Chris is very specific. He says only one app. Why? Because if you change your whole phone to English, you might get frustrated when you're in a hurry and can't find a setting. That is high pressure. But changing just one app is low pressure. It feels manageable. It's a micro win.
Let's look at the coffee ritual. While you are making coffee or eating breakfast, your hands are busy, but your brain is free. This is the perfect time for passive listening. You aren't sitting at a desk with a pen, you're just letting the sounds of the language wash over you.
Chris suggests listening to short podcasts for 5 to 10 minutes. This is a very important cultural tip. In the past, we thought we needed 60-minute lessons, but research shows that our brains have a focus window. For many learners, that window is small in the morning. 10 minutes of a slow, clear podcast is enough to prime your brain for the day.
To prime. That's a great verb. Like a painter primes a wall with white paints before adding color, you prime your brain with English so that for the rest of the day, you are more likely to notice English words around you.
Now, let's talk about the commute. Whether you're driving, taking the bus, or walking, the commute is often dead time. It is time that feels wasted, but for an English learner, the commute is a golden opportunity.
I usually just listen to the radio or stare out the window on the bus.
That's fine, but during that time, you can practice the most difficult skill, speaking. And you don't need a partner. You can talk to yourself.
This sounds strange to many people. Talking to myself, people will think I'm crazy. But Chris explains that it is one of the most effective ways to build fluency. Fluency isn't about knowing 10,000 words. It's about how fast your brain can connect the words you already know.
Exactly. If you're in your car, you can describe your surroundings. I am driving.
The light is red. I see a blue truck. These are very simple sentences, but they are physical. You are moving your mouth. You are training your muscles to make English sounds.
In the tech world, we call this output. Most learners spend 90% of their time on input, reading and listening, but output, speaking and writing, is where the real growth happens. Even if you only say 3 sentences to yourself in the morning, you are ahead of most students.
And what if you don't understand the words you hear in a podcast? Chris gives Alex a very comforting piece of advice. That's okay. You don't need to stop and translate everything. Just notice the words.
Just notice. This is a huge shift in mindset. When we try to translate every word, our brain gets tired. We lose the flow. But when we notice, we are like a scientist observing nature. We say, "Oh, I've heard that word before. I don't remember what it means, but it sounds familiar." That familiarity is the first step toward acquisition.
So our morning and commute routine is taking shape. 1 app in English. 5 minutes of listening while making coffee. 3 simple sentences spoken out loud while traveling. That is less than 10 minutes of active work. It is a routine that works on your best days and your worst days. It is a routine that builds confidence because it is impossible to fail.
Chris also mentioned something beautiful. Short is better than nothing. In our culture, we often think that if we can't do something perfectly, it isn't worth doing. But in language learning, quantity of days is more important than quality of study.
Quantity of days. I love that. If you study for 1 minute every day for 365 days, you will learn more than someone who studies for 6 hours once a year. The brain needs repetition to build the neural pathways of a new language.
So Alex is starting to feel more relaxed. He realizes that English isn't an enemy he has to fight, it is a guest he's inviting into his home.
But what about the rest of the day? What happens when the workday gets busy? How do we keep the momentum going without getting overwhelmed?
That is exactly what we're going to explore in the next part. We'll look at the workday strategy and how to handle the speaking fear. We've navigated the morning, but now we enter the most difficult part of the day, the workday. This is the time when most learners lose their English routine because they are focused on their jobs, their meetings, and their deadlines.
Exactly. This is where the all or nothing trap is most dangerous. You think, I'm too busy to study now, so I'll just wait until I have a free hour. But as we know, that free hour never comes. In the dialogue, Chris gives Alex a much better alternative, the break time strategy.
Do you have breaks at work or during the day?
Yes, small breaks, but I usually just look at my phone.
That's fine. During one of those breaks, you can read something very short in English. Not a full article, just one paragraph, or even just a few sentences. This is what we call micro-learning. Most people use their breaks to scroll through social media. If you replace just 2 minutes of scrolling with reading a short post or a news headline in English, you are building cognitive endurance.
Cognitive endurance. That means the ability of your brain to stay focused on a task for a long time. By reading small pieces of English during the day, you are training your brain to stay switched on to the language. And Chris gives a very smart piece of advice. Use beginner content.
Sometimes I feel embarrassed using beginner content. I feel like I should be reading Shakespeare or the news.
Beginner content is not embarrassing, it's smart. It helps you build confidence. If you try to read something too difficult, you will feel stupid. If you feel stupid, you will stop. But if you read something easy and you understand it, you feel a dopamine hit.
Dopamine is the chemical in your brain that makes you feel happy when you achieve a goal. If you understand a simple story, your brain says, "Hey, I'm good at this. Let's do more." This is how you build a positive feedback loop. Now, let's address the biggest mountain in English learning, the speaking fear. For Alex and for most of our listeners, speaking is the most terrifying part. Why? Because speaking is live. You can't erase your mistakes. You can't pause to look in a dictionary.
Chris suggests a technique that is completely free and completely private, talking to yourself.
You don't need a partner. You just describe what you are doing. I am cooking dinner. I am cutting vegetables.
This is called self-talk, and it is a powerful tool for fluency. Fluency is often hampered by the translation gap. This is the time it takes for your brain to translate a thought from your native language into English. By describing your real actions in real time, you are closing that gap. You are connecting the object, the vegetable, directly to the English word, carrot, without using your first language as a bridge.
And Chris introduces the minimum effort principle. This is the heart of the English cactus method. On busy days, just repeat one sentence, only one. One sentence keeps the habit alive.
Why is one sentence so important? Because it prevents a break in the chain. Imagine you have a calendar and you put a red X on every day you practice English. If you have 20 X's in a row, you feel proud. If you have a busy day and you do nothing, the chain is broken. You feel like you have to start from zero.
But if you just say one sentence, today was a busy day, you can put that X on your calendar. You haven't failed. You have maintained the habit. In the world of habits, maintenance is just as important as improvement.
So, Alex is starting to see that speaking isn't a performance, it's a practical skill. He doesn't need to be an orator. He just needs to be able to say, I am tired but proud.
I love that sentence. Tired but proud. It's honest, it's simple, and it's grammatically correct.
Now, Alex is ready for the final part of his day, the evening. He's tired, he's finished work, and his brain is full. How does he keep English in his life when he has zero energy left?
That is what we will explore in the next part. We will talk about calm English and why subtitles are your best friend, not your enemy.
We have arrived at the end of the day. For most of us, this is the danger zone. We are physically exhausted, our willpower battery is at 0%, and the last thing we want to do is open a textbook.
This is where Alex usually quits. He thinks, I'm too tired to study, so I'll just skip today. But Chris introduces a beautiful concept here, calm English. Nights are for calm English. No studying, no pressure. Watching a short video or part of a series with subtitles.
Let's talk about the subtitle guilt. So many English teachers tell students, turn off the subtitles, you must use your ears. But for a tired person at 9 p.m., turning off subtitles is a recipe for frustration.
Exactly. Chris calls subtitles tools. A tool is something that helps you do a job. If you are building a house, you use a hammer. You don't try to hit the nail with your hand. Subtitles are the hammer that helps you understand the story. When you understand, you stay engaged. When you stay engaged, you learn.
There's a specific technique here called bimodal input. This is when you hear the language and read the language at the same time. Research shows that for intermediate and beginner learners, bimodal input, English audio plus English subtitles, is one of the fastest ways to improve vocabulary and spelling.
And Alex feels a huge relief when he hears this. He says, that makes me feel less guilty. Guilt is the enemy of consistency. If you feel guilty about how you learn, you will eventually stop learning. Chris is giving him permission to enjoy the process.
Now let's look at the bedtime ritual. Alex has gone through his whole day, and now he is in bed. Chris suggests just a few lines of reading, even one paragraph.
Why one paragraph? Because it puts your brain in a learning state right before sleep. There's a theory called sleep consolidation. While you sleep, your brain organizes the information you gathered during the day. By reading a few lines of English before bed, you are giving your brain one last piece of English data to process while you dream.
So, the weekday routine is finished. It was spread across the day like little seeds. Morning, 5 minutes of listening. Daytime, 2 minutes of reading on a break. Evening, 10 minutes of a video with subtitles. Bedtime, 1 minute of reading.
That is less than 20 minutes total, but it was 4 different contacts with the language. That is far more effective than a single 20-minute lesson once a week. But then we hit the weekend. Weekends are perfect for fun English. Movies, music, games, or videos you already like, but in English.
In the world of language learning, we call this extensive listening. During the week, we do intensive work, focusing on small details. But on the weekend, we do extensive work, focusing on enjoyment.
If you love gardening, watch a gardening video in English. If you love video games, play a game with English audio. This connects English to your identity. It's no longer a subject you study, it's a way you experience your hobbies.
Chris also mentions tracking progress. Alex says he never does that, but tracking is the fuel for motivation.
You don't need anything complicated, just simple notes. Listened for 10 minutes, read one paragraph.
This is based on the small wins theory. When you see a list of your accomplishments, your brain releases a small amount of serotonin. It makes you feel like a winner. Even on a bad day, if you wrote down 5 minutes of English, you won that day.
Alex ends the conversation feeling calmer and more confident. He realized that he doesn't need to change his life to learn English, he just needs to invite English into the life he already has.
I think that is the most important lesson of all. English is a guest, not a ghost. You don't need to fear it.
So, we've covered the routine. Now we're going to move into the final part of our episode, the deep recap and the final cultural challenge.
Let's wrap this up and give our listeners the final tools they need to start their own cactus routine tomorrow morning. We have traveled through a full day in the life of an English learner. We have seen the morning coffee, the busy workday, and the quiet evening. But before we say goodbye, I want to talk about the name of our podcast, English Cactus. Why a cactus, Alan?
It's a powerful metaphor, Perry. A cactus doesn't need a massive amount of water every single day. It is designed to survive in a harsh environment. It takes in small amounts of moisture when they're available, and it stores that energy to grow slowly but surely.
Exactly. An English learner is like a cactus. You live in a harsh environment, a busy world, where you don't have hours of free time. You don't need a flood of 5-hour study sessions. You just need small sips of English throughout the day. Those small sips are what allow you to grow and eventually bloom.
Let's do a final review of the cultural tips we've discussed. These are the mental tools that will help you stay consistent. Connection over perfection. Remember that in English-speaking cultures, we use language to connect. If you understand the person and they understand you, you have succeeded. Learning isn't linear. You will have up days and down days. This is normal. A bad day with 5 minutes of English is still a victory. The home mindset. Don't treat English like a school subject you are forced to study. Treat it like a hobby you are invited to enjoy.
Now, we want to give you an actionable challenge. We don't want you to just listen to this and forget it. We want you to change one thing tomorrow.
Here is your cactus challenge. Tomorrow morning, during your very first moment, whether it's brushing your teeth or making tea, choose one English action, just one. Listen to one song, read one headline, or say one sentence out loud, like, "Today will be a good day."
That is it. That is the whole challenge. Don't try to do an hour. Don't try to be perfect. Just do that one thing. If you do it, you have won the day.
We also want to thank you for being part of our community. As we said in the script, we work very hard to bring you this natural English for free. If you want to support us, check the link in the video description. But the best way to support us is to keep practicing.
Your progress is our greatest reward. Every time you understand a new phrase or feel a little more confident, we are happy.
Let's look at our final power verbs for the episode. To repurpose, using your existing time for English. To prime, preparing your brain in the morning. To decompress, using English to relax at night. To consolidate, letting your brain organize information while you sleep.
It's been a long journey, but a very simple one. You have the tools, you have the permission to be a beginner, and most importantly, you have the routine that fits your life.
I feel very proud of our listeners today, Perry. They stayed through this long-form episode, which shows they already have the persistence needed to succeed.
I agree. You are already doing the work just by listening. Take that confidence with you into tomorrow.
Well, it's time to close the cactus garden for today.
Thank you for listening to English Cactus. My name is Perry.
And my name is Alan.
Take care, stay consistent, and remember, small actions create a strong life.
See you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.